So in the previous module, we saw that we can run the reconciliation process from the payment reconciliation journals, where we combine it with the posting of the bank statement. But of course, you can also run your reconciliation separately. So let's go and have a look, and I will use the search function to search for the bank account reconciliations. So there we go. And the first thing I need to do is create a new statement. So I will click on New. Then I will need to select the bank that I would like to reconcile. So for example, the Worldwide Bank operating. Next, the system will update the statement number. And that's also very important, I will have to enter the statement date. And suppose that this is something that I'm doing at the end of the month. So for example, the 31st of January 2020. You can now see the balance last statement appearing and the statement ending balance. And here at the bottom, you can see now the bank account ledger entries. So based on the bank that I've selected, you can see all open bank account ledger entries, or in other words, all the bank account ledger entries of this bank that haven't been reconciled yet. Okay, the next thing that I now need to do is import or enter the bank statement lines. And that's something that indeed can be done by importing the bank statement or by suggesting lines. So depending on the bank and the way that it is set up, you might be able to import the bank statement like we did with the payment reconciliation journals in the previous module. Or if you don't have an electronic bank statement to import, you can also just run the suggest lines function. So there we can enter the starting date and the ending date, but in most cases we leave the starting date blank and only enter the ending date. I would like to include checks, for example, and then if I click on OK, the system will also fill the left side, the bank statement lines. But of course, because I didn't import an actual bank statement, this is now just a copy of the bank account ledger entries. So currently we have a one-on-one relation because the only source where the system can get information on the potential bank statement lines are the open bank account ledger entries. That's of course different, again, if you import bank statements, but now we just use the suggest lines function. And now it's of course all about checking the actual bank statement. So this should appear on the bank statement, and there are a number of things that can happen. So for example, it could be possible that a certain transaction that we already posted in Business Central doesn't appear on the bank statement. Maybe it was at the end of the month and will only appear on the bank statement of next month. Then of course, here at the left side, I will have to remove lines. And suppose that the last line doesn't appear on the January bank statement, but will appear on the February bank statement probably. And I will click on delete. So I will delete the line. There we go. And of course, what you see now happening here at the right side is that the last line, so the bank account ledger entry, is not applied anymore. So after posting the reconciliation, this is still considered as an open bank account ledger entry and will be suggested the next month. So that's basically what happens here. Now another thing that can happen is that amounts appear on the bank statement but are not posted yet in Business Central. And then of course we need to take care of this. We need to post them in Business Central in order to reconcile them with the actual amounts on the bank statement lines. But first, if I see now on my bank statement an amount that I don't find back in Business Central, I first have to enter it here. So let's do this, and I will start with entering the date. So for example, the last day of the month. Here we can choose between bank account, check, or difference, and I will stick with bank account ledger entry. I will enter the description and suppose that these are interests, then the amount. There we go. And so that's basically what appears on my bank account, on my bank statement, and what I have to post in Business Central. Now, in order to post it, I will use the transfer to general journal action in the ribbon. So then I will enter the template and a batch, and I've created a specific batch for my reconciliations, but you can also just use the default batch if you want. Then I will click on OK, and then the system prepares a journal, as you can see here. So here I will need to enter the account, and let me look for an interest account. Here you can see the amount appearing, so that's something the system retrieved from the bank reconciliation, and of course the balancing account is my bank account. And by posting this journal, the system will now of course create a new bank account ledger entry that we can use in the reconciliation. So now if I click on post, yes, everything is posted. I can go back to my reconciliation, and as you can see now, we do have a new bank account ledger entry. But what you see here is that the bank account ledger entry is not matched yet with the bank statement line. So that's something that I still need to do, and I can do this with match manually or match automatically. So if I run the match automatically function, you can see now that my new interest line is matched with the bank statement line of -60. So now that I'm ready with processing my bank account reconciliation, I can go ahead and post it. So I have entered the statement ending balance. Next, I can click on post and I can post the reconciliation. So everything is posted now, and if we look at the results, if I go to bank accounts and if I take the worldwide operating bank accounts and next navigate ledger entries, you can see that all these ledger entries are closed. And so the open field is cleared, except for the John Heading Insurance bank account ledger entry, which we have removed from the reconciliation. So that one is still open and will appear on the next bank account reconciliation.